My parents paid my wife $500,000 to walk away from me and our marriage. The house that never felt like home. George Reed always believed that love could outgrow pressure. He was wrong. The house on Willow Crest Drive looked perfect from the outside. White brick, tall windows, trimmed hedges. The kind of home people slowed down to admire. The kind of home his parents loved to show off. Inside, though, George felt like a guest who had overstayed his welcome. "You're late again," his mother, Lorraine Reed, said without looking up from her tablet. "I stayed late at work," George replied, setting his keys on the counter. "The firm's merging departments. Things are busy," his father, Calvin, finished flatly. "Everyone's busy." George swallowed. He was 36, a senior civil engineer, respected at work. Yet inside this house, he still felt 12. His wife, Erica, stood by the sink. Her shoulders were tense. She didn't turn around. "How was your day?" George asked her gently. "It was fine," she said quickly. Too quickly. Lorraine glanced at Erica. "You look tired, dear." Erica forced a smile. "Just didn't sleep well." George noticed the way his mother studied Erica lately. Not with warmth, but calculation. They ate dinner mostly in silence. Afterward, Calvin cleared his throat. "George, your mother and I need to talk to Erica." "Privately." George frowned. "About what?" Lorraine smiled. "Nothing that concerns you." That was the first crack. George watched Erica hesitate, then nod. "I'll be right back," she whispered to him. She didn't meet his eyes. Erica sat stiffly in the living room across from George's parents. Lorraine folded her hands. "Come." Controlled. "Erica," she began, "we need to talk about your future." Erica's chest tightened. "My future, with George?" Calvin leaned forward. "That's exactly the problem." Erica's heart dropped. Lorraine spoke carefully. "Our son is complicated, emotional. He lacks the ambition we raised him to have." Erica stared at them. "George works non-stop. He's loyal. And still not enough," Lorraine interrupted. "We wanted more for him." Erica stood. "Then talk to your son." "We tried," Calvin said coldly. "Now we're talking to you." Lorraine slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents. Bank statements. Legal drafts. Erica's breath caught when she saw the number. $500,000. Lorraine's voice was steady. "We're prepared to offer you $500,000 to walk away from this marriage." Quietly. Cleanly. Erica's hands trembled. "You can start over," Lorraine continued. "Debt-free. No stress. No being dragged down by a man who will never meet our standards." Erica's eyes burned. "You're asking me to sell my marriage." Calvin shrugged. "We're asking you to choose wisely." Silence swallowed the room. And Erica did not answer. George felt it before he understood it. The way Erica stopped laughing at his jokes. The way her hugs felt shorter. The way she stared at nothing late at night. "You okay?" he asked one evening. She nodded too fast. "Just tired." He reached for her hand. She pulled away. That night, George lay awake listening to her breathe. Something was breaking. Weeks passed. One morning, Erica kissed his cheek before work. "I love you," she said. Her voice sounded final. That afternoon, George received a call. "George," Erica said softly, "I need you to come home early. We need to talk." His heart dropped. George arrived to an empty house. Erica's suitcase was gone. On the kitchen table sat an envelope. His name. Hands shaking, George opened it. "George, I tried to be strong. I tried to choose love over fear. But I realized something painful. Your family will never let us live in peace. I can't fight them forever. I'm sorry." The letter slipped from his fingers. He called her. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. That night, Lorraine came by. "I heard Erica left," she said softly. George stared at her. "What did you do?" She sighed. "We protected you." The truth hit him like a punch. "You paid her," he whispered. Lorraine didn't deny it. Calvin added calmly, "She took the money." George's knees buckled. His parents had bought his heartbreak, and his wife had walked away with the price. George didn't go to work for days. He stopped answering calls. He replayed every moment with Erica, searching for the exact second money replaced love. One night, he finally confronted his parents. "You destroyed my marriage," he said, voice breaking. Lorraine replied coolly, "We freed you." George laughed bitterly. "You orphaned me." Calvin scoffed. "You'll thank us one day." George stood up, shaking. "No," he said quietly. "I'll survive you." He walked out. And for the first time, he didn't look back. Across town, Erica sat alone in a luxury apartment she hadn't earned. The money sat untouched. Her reflection in the mirror looked unfamiliar. She remembered George's laugh, his patience, his quiet loyalty. The weight of $500,000 pressed on her chest like a coffin. She whispered into the empty room, "What have I done?" George moved into a small one-bedroom apartment across town. No gate, no security, no expectations. The first night, he slept on the floor with only a blanket. The emptiness felt honest. At work, people noticed the change. "You good, man?" his colleague Aaron asked during lunch. George nodded, learning how to breathe again. He poured himself into work, long hours, late nights. But when he came home, the silence screamed. Some nights he picked up his phone and typed Erica's name, then erased it. He didn't want answers anymore. He wanted peace. Erica tried to enjoy the life the money bought her. New clothes, a luxury apartment, quiet mornings. But peace never came. Her mother called one evening. "You left George?" she asked gently. Erica swallowed. "Yes." "For money." Erica didn't answer. Her mother sighed. "Some money isn't a blessing. It's a debt." That night, Erica cried for the first time since leaving. The money didn't feel like freedom. It felt like blood on her hands. 6 months later, George received an email. Subject: Family Trust Meeting, Mandatory Attendance. He almost laughed. Almost. Curiosity won. He showed up. Lorraine smiled stiffly when she saw him. Calvin looked annoyed. A lawyer sat between them. "The Reed Family Trust is being restructured," the lawyer began, "due to internal conflict and ethical concerns." George raised an eyebrow. Lorraine shifted. "The board has decided," the lawyer continued, "that George Reed will receive independent control of his inheritance, effective immediately." Calvin slammed his hand on the table. "This is ridiculous." The lawyer remained calm. "Mr. Reed Sr., your attempt to interfere in your son's marriage raised legal concerns." George sat still. For once, power shifted. Outside the meeting, Lorraine confronted George. "You turned them against us," she hissed. George looked at her calmly. "No. You exposed yourselves." Calvin scoffed. "You think this makes you better?" George met his father's eyes. "It makes me free." He walked away, again. This time stronger. One evening, George found an envelope under his door. Erica's handwriting. He didn't open it immediately. When he did, the letter was short. "George, I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that. I chose fear. I chose money. I'm returning it. Not for you. For my soul. Erica." Attached was a bank receipt. $500,000 transferred back to the Reed Trust. George closed his eyes. The wound didn't vanish, but it softened. They met at a quiet cafe. Neutral ground. Erica looked smaller. George looked steadier. I'm not here to ask for us, Erica said quickly. I just needed you to know I regret it. George nodded. Regret doesn't rebuild trust. I know. Silence. Then George spoke softly. But returning the money mattered. Erica exhaled shakily. I hated myself every day I kept it. They didn't touch. They didn't promise anything. They told the truth. And that was enough, for now. Calvin suffered a mild stroke months later. Lorraine sat alone in the hospital waiting room. No George. No Erica. Just consequences. When George finally visited, Lorraine cried. I wanted the best for you, she said. George replied quietly, You wanted control. She had no answer. A year later, George bought a modest home, his choice. He mentored young engineers, traveled, laughed again. One afternoon, he received a text from Erica. I hope you're well. He replied, I am. Nothing more. Nothing less. George stood on his balcony one night, city lights glowing. He thought about love. How fragile it is under pressure. How strong it becomes with boundaries. Some marriages end in anger. His ended in clarity. And that clarity gave him something priceless. Himself. George wasn't looking for love. That's how it usually finds you. He met Ariana Cole at a community engineering workshop he volunteered at on Saturdays. She was a project coordinator, sharp-eyed, confident, and unimpressed by titles. You don't talk like most men with your resume, she said after the session. George smiled. I stopped performing a long time ago. She studied him. That explains the calm. They started with coffee, then walks, then laughter that didn't require explanation. Ariana didn't rush him. She didn't ask about his parents. She didn't flinch at silence. For the first time, George felt chosen, without pressure. Erica downsized. She moved into a small apartment near the city edge and took a non-profit job helping displaced women rebuild their lives. The irony wasn't lost on her. One afternoon, a woman asked her, What made you start over? Erica hesitated, then said quietly, I sold something sacred once. I'm trying to earn myself back. At night, she journaled. Not about George. About herself. Why fear spoke louder than love. Why approval mattered more than peace. Healing wasn't dramatic. It was slow, honest, lonely. Lorraine called George unexpectedly. I'd like to have dinner, she said. Just us. George paused. Why? I don't know how to exist without control, she admitted softly. And I don't want to lose my son completely. Silence. Then George said, One dinner. No conditions. That night, they sat across from each other, not as ruler and subject, but as two flawed adults. I thought money could fix anything, Lorraine said. I didn't know it could rot love. George replied calmly. You didn't know because you never let love lead. Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she listened. Erica ran into George at a bookstore months later. No tension. No drama. I heard you're doing well, she said. I am, George replied. She smiled sadly. You deserved peace long before you found it. George nodded. So did you. There was no talk of reconciliation. Some doors closed not because love died, but because trust learned its limit. They hugged briefly, then let go.